Hi.
Hello. How are you
Oh, can you
doing?
see me?
I can. Can you see me?
Oh, good. Yes, everything's okay. Everything's good. Yeah.
How are you doing?
Both wearing pink today.
Yes. Yeah. I usually am wearing some pink, but now that it's back to winter, most of my winter clothes are gray and black and whatnot. But yeah,
Oh,
I like to be more colorful in the summertime.
oh, okay.
You taught me
How are
to
you?
what?
How was your week?
It was good. It was fine. It was weird. My truck broke down, which I mean, it's an older vehicle, so that was to be expected, but it was coming home from work, so it's never fun when it's like at the end of a long day. But no, I'm fine. How was your week?
Uh, yeah, it was okay. Um it seemed very long, but even though it wasn't necessarily, no, it was okay. I'm trying to think back. We've got quite a lot going on because auctions are coming up next week and the week after. So
Yes.
I had to get around and see all of those. I gave a 2 hour talk at Christie's Education
Uh-huh.
yesterday morning for
Uh-huh.
adult students.
Yeah.
And they bought my book, which is good
Yeah.
because they gave, I don't know what they charged the students, but they gave them the book,
Value of art or seeing slowly.
The Value of Art. And so
Yes.
that's kind of what I was talking about.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that was good. That was interesting.
Yeah. And what was the mix of students like?
It was quite interesting. I would say one, two, there were only about 12 to 15 people. I would say
Hmm.
two or three younger,
Hmm.
um, and then couple of aspiring artists a bit older, and then some potential collecting couples,
Sure.
probably quite well to do, who
Sure.
were in their 60s. And it was a good mix, and I got reasonably good questions, which indicated that they had listened to what I was saying,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
That's a kind of a I don't always get that.
Right. No, sure. Sure, sure. So yeah.
But they were, and it was because it was 2 hours. I mean, we had a break in between.
Right.
I was kind of meandering a bit and reminiscing and stuff. And yeah, so it was, I didn't have to make a great effort and they seemed to enjoy it.
Sure.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
that was
didn't,
all
yeah.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so what else? I'll tell you, the atmosphere generally, um, and people talking privately is very subdued because of the war. I mean,
Right.
I think that uh I mean, people are coming into the gallery, they're coming to see the exhibition,
Yeah.
but um a lot of the talk in the art world has to do with that, I guess, and outside the art world too.
Yeah.
And it really depends entirely on who you're talking to, what is said.
Yeah.
um Although there's also been, I think, quite a lot of, there's a lot of interest in how quickly Sam Bankman-Fried was found guilty,
Hmm.
and speculation on how is he going to get 100 years in jail?
Right.
Uh,
No. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, I don't really know what to think there. I mean, I think that these were really irresponsible people who kind of knew what they were doing and didn't really care and kind of thought it was funny and cute and they got caught. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's,
yeah, I think you're right. Somebody, and this may be a meaningless anecdote, but somebody who knew people who knew his parents
hmm.
told me a story of a couple who were also, I don't know, finance people or lawyers who were visiting the parents when Sam was 8 or 9 years old,
Hmm.
and they were having dinner with them. And Sam's father asked the visiting man if he would, he asked him kind of quietly if he would invite Sam to play chess. And the guy who was a good chess player, the
Yeah.
visitor, and he said, well, I can, but I'm pretty good. And the guy said, oh, don't worry, no, Sam's very good. So he did. He asked Sam, the little boy, and Sam said yes, and they started to play.
Yeah.
And it was obvious that Sam was actually not a very good player, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Then Sam's father again took the visitor aside and said, will you please let him win? Because he throws these huge tantrums if he doesn't win. So,
I mean, no,
so
I
you
mean,
get, I got it. I mean, it's
yeah,
like,
this is, I mean, yeah, the parents, I mean, this is painful for me because this is real. This is real life. I mean, this is my whole thing. And this is what I did for basically my entire career in the classroom is help parents understand, oh, if you let him smack you in the face, if you let him grab the keys out of your hand and you go, ha ha ha, and you don't say, no, please give those back. That's what he does in the classroom to all the other children because you've taught him as his primary, that's okay to do. And imagine what he does to you, he does to everyone else. And many parents got that message. Many parents do not. Many parents will tell you to their face they value their child's happiness over integrity. Um, it's sad. I mean, it's
in this
sad.
case, it was set up. I mean, it wasn't as if Sam said, oh, can I play chess with you? And the dad said, listen, he's not very good. Go easy on him,
Well, but the fascinating things about those people is how, well, shocked they are that others won't go along with and these are the people who call college professors and say change a grade or,
I guess they do, right? Yeah, well, yeah, then there were those people who cheated to get their
the kids, yeah, no,
hey,
those,
the guy who cheated to get their kids in, right?
and so, yeah, and right, and one of them, and I happen to like her. She's an actress from the TV show Full. She's an actress, but she got her, she got caught. She served. First of all, she pled not guilty, and they were going to give her a lot of years. Then finally, at the last moment, she pled guilty, and they gave her, I think, 4 months. And then, of course, Felicity Huffman, who an actress I also love, I think she served her 60 days. But the thing to me is, out of all of that, her daughter became an influencer. And people say, well, you can't judge the daughter for the mother's crimes. And that's true. You can't judge a daughter for the mother's crimes. But the daughter used that infamy to become famous. And I judge her for that completely. Do you understand? So, yes, I do judge the daughter for.
Well, yeah.
That is her claim to fame. And so I will judge her for that. It's separate from her mother's crime. It's her willingness to. She could have hid her head, gone to school, just be a student, but she chose. And again, I have nothing against influencers. People are like, that's not even a real job. Be an influencer. That's perfectly valid job.
But how you achieve your notoriety,
yes,
in our culture,
yes,
is the issue. And Donald Trump has achieved his notoriety by grabbing women inappropriately.
Yep.
And that's apparently okay.
Yeah.
And Lauren Boebert has achieved her notoriety by vaping and grabbing her companion and at a Beetlejuice.
So, okay, all right, here are my two things there. And, okay, what is the story here? So, I mean, it's interesting that her date happened to be a Democrat. He happens to run a bar that happens to do drag shows. Like, apparently she doesn't vet her dates at all. I mean, I
didn't know that. I didn't know
that.
Oh,
no. And as soon as she found that out, what she found out from the press, they informed her of that. She said, oh, it's over. And it's like, so you don't even vet, you don't even vet your dates. So that's all one thing. But, I mean, the buried story and all that, because everything else is so lascivious, is when she was at his bar, which is how I guess they hooked up, she spent apparently campaign money at his bar. So, I mean, that's the least of her. Yeah.
But she is now nationally known.
Yeah,
She's a
and
congresswoman from Colorado, from a district in Colorado, who wouldn't have been given the time of day,
yeah, well,
right?
and George Santos is running again. He filed for re-election faster than anyone else, and he says no one cares about volleyball, implying, and again, integrity. No one cares if I lied. I've lied about minimal stuff, and he didn't. He actually lied about where he went to school. He lied about his credentials. He lied.
He lied about everything. He
He lied
lied
about
about
literally. I mean, literally major,
everything.
minor, his name, his dog's name, things about diseases his parents had. I mean, lots of his mother, 9/11. He lied about a lot of things, but yeah, he thinks people don't care, and I don't know if that's true. I mean, you're on Long Island. You're there
Now
ish.
he will, at the very least, he's not going to get reelected, but I don't know if he'll get kicked out before then.
Right,
Uh,
and either way, he won't go away. He'll be a Fox correspondent or just a talking heads. I mean, he's
Oh
made.
yeah, he can go on the Mystery Singer or whatever. I mean, once, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean he's yeah.
Billie Jean King did that. Apparently, that was great.
Ha. Yeah, yeah.
But what about Eric Adams? Because
What has he done this week? I missed.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's very good. So Eric Adams has promised New Yorkers that he's going to Washington and he's going to get money to take care of the migrants that have been sent here.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
In
yeah.
other words, this is a crisis. It's an emergency.
Right,
He's not against migrants, but
right.
so he plans to go to Washington last Thursday, and he has appointments at the White House
Yes.
and the Congress and the Senate. And I guess he leaves on an early plane. And when he lands, he's told that the FBI has raided the house of the 25-year-old
Oh,
who is his campaign finance manager.
yes.
Now,
Okay.
she doesn't work for the city,
Right,
but she still is very, very influential.
right.
And the FBI have raided her because, I mean, they wouldn't do that without significant evidence. And the
Yeah.
issue seems to be now, although Eric Adams, has not yet been, nothing has been, and he hasn't been approached personally.
Right,
He flew back, but as soon as he heard this,
right.
he canceled all his meetings and flew back to New York.
Ha.
And said, well, people said, well, why? He said, oh, I just want to be on the ground and see what's going on, or something like that. So the inference seems to be that, and this is what I find a kind of strange, that he went through this a few years ago when he was running in 2017 for something else.
Right,
Campaign funds were coming illegally from
right,
non-citizens and being
right.
funneled through cement companies or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it seems that there's a strange connection between Eric Adams and the country of Turkey. He's been there about 7 times.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's been given awards by the Turkish
Yeah,
government.
yeah, yeah.
And it's some Turkish nationals who have apparently been accused of, I guess, giving money to people who then pretend it's coming from a lot of, like a contracting company has 15 employees, and each of these employees gives $2,500 or something, and it's supposed to be coming from them as individuals.
Right, right, right. But it's
But
no.
it's not. So
Yeah.
so it's a election finance scandal,
Right,
right? I mean, I can understand the country of the spy. I can understand the intelligence heads of the country of Egypt wanting to influence Menendez, who's the head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
sure.
I mean, you can see that.
Yes.
Why
But
would
right? But okay, I'm gonna flip that around, and okay, well, why do US politicians travel so much at the American tax dollar expense? Why is Washington senator in Hong Kong with a gun? Why is did you? I don't know if you heard that story. I mean,
No, it sounds good though.
no, it's
Yeah.
not even a good story. It was accidental. He could have served 14
Oh
years.
yeah.
He could have served 14 years
In
in
other
jail.
words, he was discovered with a gun.
Yeah, and it was weird when actually at first I thought that's a really lame excuse. He was like, "Why did PDX Airport, Portland Airport, let me through with a gun?" But in the end, actually, how did he make it on an international flight with a gun? Again, oh, but I'm sorry, I will always back up. Anyone who forgets they have a gun on or about their person has too casual a relationship with guns. That's in and of itself. But why is he in Hong Kong? Why is Gavin Newsom? Well, Gavin Newsom is going to run for president, whether he says he is or not. But why is DeSantis in others? Well, DeSantis is running, but no. I mean, politicians are. I mean, the whole Eric Adams thing, and I guess the other piece of that, why him in Washington. I hate to say it, but I think the right wing politicians who started, I mean, it was considered callous, busing and flying people to other states, were saying, well, this won't be seen as a crisis until it turns up in blue cities and blue states. And they're kind of right, because suddenly now Eric Adams is going to Washington, but before it was the governor of Texas, and Eric Adams was saying that's your problem. So I mean, I mean, the migrant. I am 100% in favor of migrant rights, and but I think it's a conversation that we all need to have, and not just ignore it and say walls are bad and let the red states deal with it.
No, the problem is the red states are dealing with it to make political to get do
Oh,
political
absolutely,
money.
yes.
They're not dealing with it in a nonpartisan
No,
way in order to deal with it and say, let's all solve this. And if there are jobs for these migrants in other states, let's have a coupon system to get them to those jobs, whatever it is.
right. Well, no, I mean, okay.
Say,
But I'm going to put that on everyone, because that's not just that's everyone's unwillingness
yes, you're right.
to work
Absolutely.
together. Because you're right. It could absolutely be that. But instead, now we're shipping people to Martha's Vineyard, where we know there's no shelter at midnight and in the dark. I mean, it is intentional. It is callous. It is intentionally cruel. And yeah,
But I think to go back to this business of politics, I think politicians have been, because actually congressmen don't get paid that much.
Sure. Oh,
So they have it's very tempting to dip into the public purse to create occasions of travel, whether domestic or international, and to pretend that they need to do this for the but why does someone who's been who is serving the city of New York only going to Turkey? I mean,
right. No, right.
In fact, as a New York mayor, he could be going to almost every country on earth, because we got those folks here with a good excuse, like, I want to serve the Cambodians in New York.
Absolutely. But yes,
but somebody's paying him.
Right. And I think that should be very well documented. Who's paying for this trip? Why? And what's the purpose? What is the public good out of this? If you're going to, for instance, I don't know, if you're going to Hong Kong because you're visiting a turbine factory because you want to build one in Washington, sure, great. But if you're just going there on because some private interest has invited you and is paying your way, and you're on luxury yachts and you're getting some payola for whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, yeah. All right. Oh, what's your...
No, go ahead.
Scooped bagel guy?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, New Yorker's opinion.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, I mean, I have no sympathy for him, frankly. I mean, I'm just trying to, I don't know what I'm trying to think the equivalent is. I don't know. Maybe when years ago my Texas friend went to this and I took him for a drink to, or someone else, to a very fancy club in London, and he asked for ice in his curse. First of all, he asked for Coca-Cola and a Coke, and then he wanted ice in it. I mean, just in terms of cultural, ineptitude, or I don't know, blindness, cultural blindness.
Again, though, I mean, I think. All right. Well, no, I think a few things. I think he seized his moment. He got it. Because yeah. No,
He thought that it was a thing here, right?
Well, yeah, he claims. He claims he went to several stores. He claims at least one store they said, "I'm not scooping your fucking bagel, bro," which exactly sounds like what they would tell you in a deli.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm sure that was it. Yes.
I think this is all true.
And everybody was clapping. Like,
No, but my visceral reaction is no. Yes, I agree. Don't scoop his bagel. If he had gotten a scooped bagel in New York, I would have been so mad. He's back in LA now. Someone actually paid for his ticket back to LA. He cut his trip short because someone paid for a first class ticket to get him out of New York.
Really?
I mean, this is all
New Yorker.
But it's all kind of
that shows how hospitable we are.
But it's all kind of an ongoing meme and a joke. I will say, I've only been in LA once for about 48 hours, and in that time, I frequented like 3-4 restaurants. Sprouts and avocado were available on every menu that I was at, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually like the cliche, but in real, they're living it." So I mean, culture is very different.
It's not. No, that's why I have a 48-hour ceiling in LA. I mean, what do they call it? It's a firm stop. It's a and part of it is because of that. If you go into the equivalent place in West Hollywood, it's just it's first of all, it's slow. It's slow.
Mm-hmm.
Like they got all day. Maybe they do. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's no there's no sense of urgency.
Right.
Like I mean, we've got this new place now around the corner on 9th Avenue where there used to be this strange store which was both a hairdresser's and a coffee place, and it was no one wanted to go in for either reason.
Yeah.
Now it's absolutely packed the whole day because they've got some tables inside. They've got prepared like wraps and drinks. But
yes.
they've got like this enormous menu, which one guy does behind the counter with a hot plate, and they're taking orders from people as they walk in, and it's like amazing how they are and how quickly they're serving,
right,
and getting and they're dealing with a lot of tourists who don't quite they're very patient actually with who are coming from these hotels, and they don't quite know what they want, but just to demand it. What is a scooped bagel? I don't even know what this is.
Okay, well, no, I mean, I guess this is how they're typically served. Whatever you get your bagel and you get whatever on it, and they scoop it out, and then that leaves more room for filling, which I understand the concept, but no, bagels.
You scoop it out, but the bagel's got a hole in it. I mean,
right, no, and I mean, you're wasting some bread. Bagels are a perfect food. Leave it alone. And they're our food. They're, I mean, it's all of it. It's, you can desecrate it over there. Just, we don't even want to hear about it. Like, just don't do that here. You can do that. That's fine. Put your avocado and sprouts on it, and hummus. But we're gonna have it. We're gonna have it with cream cheese and lox.
Even in LA, it's not a boiled bagel. It will be bagel shaped.
For sure. No, you're right. It's a bagel shaped. It's a bagel shaped roll. Right. No, you're right.
It's a bagel shaped roll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also hospitality in New York related. I'm so disappointed to hear this, and this also probably is Mayor Adams related somehow. All those outdoor, like, that came about during the pandemic, mostly for outside of cafes, those little
sheds.
Yeah, are they now? Well, they didn't take them away entirely, but are they now seasonal? They're only.
No.
Oh no, they're still there.
It seems to me
Okay.
that that many of them have
Mhm.
become absolutely permanent.
Right. That's what I had noticed in
And
when I
so
visited.
some restaurants have, in fact, there's a kind of I throw a greasy spoon.
Yeah.
But it's on Madison and 83rd on the corner, and they had maybe one, two, three, four, maybe 12 tables inside
Right.
all year round. In other
Yeah.
words, they never had an outside.
Right.
Now they have an additional 10 tables on Madison and another 10 tables on 83rd Street,
Yeah.
and they've doubled the size of the
Yeah.
restaurant,
Yeah.
and it's still packed. And they have heaters. I mean, I
Right.
don't know how cold it will have to be
Sure. Sure. Sure.
goes down, but no, it
Yeah.
seems to me that, and all the cab drivers complain about them.
Okay. No, it is. It's versus cars, and it's
No,
versus.
it's versus getting around, and I suspect
Right.
that there's a quid pro quo, because I think there are some places that I think there must be a cost to the restaurant to do that.
Sure. 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 Well,
Whether
there
it's
is.
a,
There's a
whether it's an
you have to
official
get it
cost,
permitted. Yeah. Right.
or it has to be permitted.
Yeah.
But it's been I mean, it's a boon to a lot of restaurants.
No, and to me, and again, I am city planning is one of my passions. I love pedestrian friendly cities. New York, of course, where I grew up, one of the most pedestrian friendly cities on earth, one of the most transit friendly cities on earth. I love going there. I've never felt a need to have a car. Walking around the last time, I mean, we have them here too, but I mean, especially downtown, they're everywhere, and they're decorated, and they're painted, and they're vibrant, and they create a very, I love them. And then so I read that suddenly they were going to make them seasonal, and that seemed, I mean, I hope they backed off this plan, because it doesn't even seem logical if you're talking about moving them and then where you're storing them for the winter. You can't do that. They would be destroyed, and then you're talking about businesses having to create them every year. I mean, so I hope they just leave them alone. But I understand it's versus traffic. They take up lanes of traffic, but I think in exchange for making these walkable cities that dense neighborhoods with these attractions that people want to be at, leave the car at home and take the subway down.
It seems to me, even without the sheds, right?
Mhm.
That there are food places, even if they're sort of cakes and tea and something,
Yeah.
and they have a canopy,
Oh,
right?
sure. Yes.
They will put 5 tables each with 2 chairs outside,
Yeah.
and I don't think they ask anybody's permission. They
Sure.
just,
Yeah.
and people, New Yorkers don't care if they sit in
Yeah.
if they're sitting on the pavement, right?
Yeah.
If there's I mean, I've seen some which seem not. I said, why are those 2 people sitting eating on a small table on that corner? And it's the restaurant's kind of like it's near there, but
Yeah.
it almost looks like a performance, but they don't care,
Yeah.
So, all right. So they do. So Seattle has that, right?
Yes. We're limited, and they're mostly limited to, like the more entertainment districts. And I still don't know what I mean, they also seem to be permanent, but I don't know what the permitting process is. I think just.
So I just read the headline, and it seemed to be, I don't know why this is news. Jeff Bezos is moving from Seattle to Miami.
Oh, yeah.
This is a headline.
Yep. No, because he's one of the richest people on earth. But he's also one of the least interesting rich people on earth. He's not even okay. So for Seattleites, I mean, he's not even the head of Amazon anymore.
Okay.
He's moving because his parents live there, and because he has this space company, Blue Origin, which flies out of Cape Canaveral. So it's a logical move for him.
So he's just moving himself, right?
He's just moving himself as a human being. He's not moving jobs. He's not moving Nothing else is moving, though. What this I don't know. I'm sure it affected Amazon stock in some way, just because that's how. I mean, rumors affect the stock market in ridiculous, dangerous ways these days. And, but yeah, no, it's just him. It's just him as a person. And yeah, I agree with you. Kind of, why is this news? Seattleites are kind of like, okay, I guess one more mansion in Medina will go on the market. But that doesn't mean much to us. For me, I guess, again, I don't like Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis' whole thing is just, well, racism, sexism, homophobia is all great. And he says, people vote with their dollars. More people have moved to Florida. And so this high profile individual moving to Florida, again, adds to this narrative that he can crow about, that everyone's moving to Florida, which isn't really true. I mean, Disney's actually looking to move out, and that's their biggest employer.
For an individual,
Right.
I think there is a substantial tax advantage.
Oh, compared to well, okay, here's an
I
interesting
don't know
thing.
what his status is.
Not compared to Washington, but compared to many states. Yes, Florida is yes, they're a low tax.
Ken Griffin moved out of Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a $50 million penthouse in New York, but he's moved to Miami.
Yep.
Out of Chicago.
It's a great place to be rich. No, it's a great place to be rich, but so is Washington, because we have the most regressive tax in the state, because we have the highest sales tax, and we have at 10%, and we have no like many of the types of property tax. It's a great state to be rich, which is why Bezos, Bill Gates, lots of millionaires and billionaires live here.
So the state income tax is probably quite lenient.
Yes, very much so. And we are literally the most regressive, which means the poorer you are, the more taxes, because sales tax.
Yeah, everybody pays sales tax.
Yeah. So
actually, except many wealthy people avoid paying sales tax. I mean, they legally avoid it because they can have stuff sent to different houses in other places.
Yes. Huh. But no, so I think as far as like how cost of living, well, he's a billionaire, so I don't think it really matters. I think it's probably moot for him. But no, I mean, yeah, I understand. Florida's also got sunshine. Florida's also got great things, but I would please wait till after DeSantis is out of, I don't know. I just don't like supporting that guy. Like I enjoyed our visit to Busch Gardens, but I think that's the last time I've enjoyed being in Florida. Wasn't that? Oh no, okay. We spent overnight when we did the Disney cruise. I enjoyed it. It was.
Yeah, I think from that point of view, but Florida, residential Florida, is death on wheels. I mean, it's God's waiting room.
Right. We went to a capybara farm. We went to, Busch Gardens. I really enjoyed Florida. Yeah, no, that was a great trip. I have very sentimental feelings about Florida. I have nothing against the state of Florida, though.
No, I don't either, but I do, if it conjures up, I think this has to do with my age. People my age are afraid that if they go to Florida, they'll never leave. That will be captured and put in a gated community and made to play mahjong or bridge, right?
Or Arizona, right? I mean, the same thing.
That's another place that's really terrifying from that point of view. And they're Republic and they're Reds. I mean,
that's the thing. It's like, people say, these are the places to retire. I'm like, I'm never retiring to any of those places. Where's a warm place that doesn't have those people? And of course,
that whole community in Florida called the Villages, which was like the first community for Trump.
No, and they have and again, I honestly, again, I like to very myopically think of Trump supporters as being like kind of trailer park and what have you. And again, nothing against trailer parks. I used to live in one, and you came and visited me when I lived in my trailer park, and I have nothing against trailer parks. But I think of Trump supporters. He says, he says low IQ. He says I like low IQ voters, and that has nothing to do with how rich you are. But no, these people with mega yachts flying these Trump they have whole boat parades for Trump, and it's. It's painful to think about.
Dumb rich people for Trump. It should be Yeah.
That should be a pack. That would
It
actually.
should be Pat, yes.
Well, no, he with his whole like I could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue. He could literally name a pack that, and they would still donate to it. I'm pretty sure. That like they said, you can't fix stupid, but you can sell them a red hat. I mean, it's.
Well, he's back here
I
next
know
week.
with the when Ivanka doesn't want to. She's such a busy mother that she can't testify because she doesn't have any. There's no way to
Yeah.
no one to drop off
And
her
Eric,
kids.
what's interesting is Eric says, I just pour concrete. That was, he
I
says,
know. I like big trucks. I just
I, I
like
mean, the guy, I don't think the guy's been near a mixer. I mean,
he should have no. He
concrete.
should have at least one shot of him in a like. You just because I mean I. You don't have to actually do it. You can just get the hat, and then
No, I know.
you should have at least one picture of him standing with a hat, just to like.
Exactly.
No, I just pour concrete. I know. Eric, I actually really fear for Eric. And again, I don't. He's a Trump, and he gets what he deserves. But I think they're all going to throw him under the bus. I think by next week, it's going to be the end of a Quentin Tarantino movie where everyone's standing in a circle pointing guns at each other. That's going to be the Trump family because and Eric's going down. I mean, I don't think. I think I mean, I don't think they've said it out loud, but I think they all know if someone has to go down, it's Eric.
It's Eric. It's Eric, right?
Because they can't blame Tiffany. She's too far removed. If they could
Well,
blame
no,
Tiffany,
no. It's interesting because what could come out of this? They all go down, and Tiffany becomes a big influencer. She becomes like
she went to law school, so she's ready. She's in her understudy position to take over what's left of Trump Corp. And she'll yeah. I know.
Well, it's not dull in the court system here in New York.
Yeah.
Um,
and then the Trump lawyer who in his constant attacks of that clerk, and then he brings up Breitbart, and literally the whole courtroom groans because the judge says, what's the source of this? And he says, well, it might be Breitbart. And I mean,
This is the law clerk that Donald Trump said is Chuck Schumer's girlfriend because there was because she was in a photograph with him.
Oh, was she in a photograph? Okay,
He found a photograph of her with Chuck Schumer.
Okay,
like you take photographs with your
lots of people. Right? I've actually I've taken photographs with politicians of very
so you're their girlfriend, you're their boyfriend, you're their girlfriend because you take a photograph with them,
right? But no, and she's donated, but I mean, yes, that's public records for a reason, but it's not, the reason isn't to harass people for
the reason is to be transparent, which is something that the Trump is a word that the Trump family is not in their dictionary. Transparency is not in the Trump family dictionary.
No. But exploitation is. If you can exploit any presumption,
yeah.
But and I mean, these things result in real death threats and real, this is her life.
Well, that is the problem. If you're a juror, I mean, I'm too old to be a juror, but I could be picked as a juror for one of these trials, and then you got a bullseye on your back from if they discover that you're a Democrat, for instance.
Yeah, you voted. Yeah. I mean, it's, and I mean, and that, I mean, it's. Yeah, no, that's a whole thing that we live in a world where just death threats actually shape how people make decisions, and no one says.
And then got people who go that guy went and killed 18 people, but he'd been it seems that everybody except the people who needed to knew that he was going to do this.
Oh, I know. I mean,
that's awful.
But back to I mean, again, I don't know anything about that family, but it seems this family knew he had access to guns, knew he had, and that Chicago kid Crumbley, like back to entitlement and families. I mean, it can result in death. It can. I mean, it's. Yeah, I think we're out of time, but.
Okay.
Yeah, I love you.
Have a great week. I love you, son.
All right,
okay?
talk to you next week.
Be well.
You too.